Welcome to the webinar, everyone. Another Wednesday, another Lunch and Learn. Let's jump in and talk about hydration and the importance of it. The first thing is you need to understand what water is doing for your body and to your body. You know, your brain is made up of 75% water. It regulates your body temperature. It makes up 83% of your blood. It helps remove waste from your body. Composes of 22% of your bones. It cushions your joints. I mean, the reality is this. People that are dehydrated or not drinking enough water are affecting a lot of different things in their body that they may or may not realize. In fact, if you suffer from high blood pressure, you should be consuming a lot of water because guess what? Water is going to help reduce that blood pressure naturally because your blood is made up of so much of it. So just remember there's all kinds of things that you need to appreciate that water is going to affect. And remember, I'm talking about water. I'm not talking about sodas. I'm not talking about fruit juices. I'm not talking about Gatorades, Powerades, vitamin waters. I'm not talking about things like this. I'm talking about water. So if you really want to know how much we really are water, we as humans make up basically, our entire bodies is 60% water. So 60% of our total existence is water. Our blood, has 92%, anywhere from 85 to 92%. The brain around 73 to 75%. The heart 73%. Lungs 83%. The skin 64%. You can kind of see, everything, all of the body's organs, tissues, everything is all about water. It's not made up of Coke and those other things. So just understand that. And the bad thing is 75% of us walk around every single day dehydrated. We're not giving our bodies enough water. What are some of the signs of dehydration? Sleepiness. When you're sleepy, sometimes it's because you don't have enough, water in your system. Thirst, decreased urine output, obviously, few or no tears, dry skin, headaches, constipation, lightheadedness, dizziness. All of these things are leading to it. One of the interesting things we talk about all the time is when somebody has chapped or dry lips, what they reach for is the lip balm or something of that nature. The reality is that is your body basically trying to tell you, hey, I'm thirsty. I need water. Give me what I'm looking for. We kind of bypass the body's warning systems all the time and think that we have something new to talk about. So here's the thing. Here's an interesting fact. 1/3 of Americans' primary source of hydration comes from sugary beverages. How about that one? 1/3 of the primary source. That means when you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night, 1/3 of Americans, 33% of people, over 100 million people in the U.S., their primary source of hydration is some form of sugary beverage. This can be fruit juice, sports drink, cola, beverage, that type of thing. Their primary source is that right there, those sugary beverages. So we shouldn't we be doing this 8 glasses of water a day? Shouldn't that be what we're striving for? Well, the reality is this: 8 glasses of water a day has no scientific basis. That's right. You've heard it everywhere. You've read it everywhere. You've probably maybe even heard this from your physician or your doctor. Drink your 8 glasses of water a day. The reality is it really has no basis in science. It was made up basically by a nutritionist way back in the day that said 2.5 liters is basically what you should be drinking every day. That was converted to 8 glasses, and that's where we end up. The reality is you may need less, you may need more, depending on who you are, where you live, how much you're outside, how much you're sweating, how much you're perspiring if you work out on a regular basis. You need to understand what your need is, and there's different ways that you can calculate that, but the reality is this: don't just think that 8 is enough, because it very well may not be. Stages of dehydration. If we're going to understand it, one of the things that we have to do is we have to understand the warning signs. And the first one is mild dehydration. This is where your lips start to get dry. You start to have a thirst. The inside of your mouth may be dry, or you have the low urine output. This is mild. These are basically the body's early warning system, if you will, of, hey, I need more hydration. I need you to give me what I'm looking for. Moderate dehydration, well, that also has thirst, but now you have a very dry mouth. You potentially have sunken eyes, low or no urine output, and you're not producing tears. So Now your body's basically saying, okay, I'm going to have to start shutting things down. I'm going to have to stop making things work the way that they are because I'm going to have to preserve what it is I have because you're not giving me what I need. Then we get into severe. That's a rapid or weak pulse, cold hands and feet, rapid breathing, blue lips, lethargic, comatose, seizures, severe dehydration requires immediate hospitalization. We have to actually go in and put you on an IV to rehydrate your body. So hydration can be a real, dehydration can be a real life-threatening event. Here's an interesting fact. How long can you live without? Well, food, roughly about 30 days. Water, 7 days. That's right. So you can live almost, more than 4 times as long. Some people even have lived longer than that without food. You only live 7 days without water. You can only live 4 to 5 days without sleep. Little known fact there. And maybe 15 minutes without the internet. Yes, I joke with that. I mean, it seems like every time the internet goes down or a phone doesn't work these days, people, completely freak out. But the reality is, you can only live 7 days without water. So make sure that you understand how important it is compared to the food that you're consuming. Now, here's the compound effect of dehydration. What happens if you continue the dehydration track over a period of time? Well, once you get to 1.5% reduction, okay, now you're going to have reduced cognitive function, which means you're not going to be able to focus. You're also going to have increased fatigue, which you're going to be more tired, and you're also going to start developing headaches. Here's a personal story. We have actually partnered at ID Life with Garmin. Garmin has a scale. One of the reasons why we love the partnership with Garmin is because the scale that they offer also will measure your hydration point. I used to wake up several times during the spring season thinking I had allergy headaches and things of that nature. Well, one day I stepped on my scale, and before I took my allergy medicine, noticed that my hydration percentage was down about 2% from where it normally was on a daily basis. So I started loading up with water, and sure enough, my headache went away. So one of the things that you need to pay close attention to is you need to know what your hydration point is. What is your optimal hydration point? Find a scale, find a device. We obviously recommend Garmin, but we would really recommend that you find a way to determine what your point is, because obviously when it gets low, these are the things that start to happen. Once you hit 3% reduction in your hydration point, now you have basically fuzzy thinking. You really can't remember things. You're trying to cognitively function that it's just not there. You have what they call the brain fog, and you also have a slower metabolism. Basically, your body is going to start slowing down, shutting down, because it's trying to preserve what it has. Then once you hit 5%, you have a 25 to 30% loss of energy. You have your blood pressure going up, because remember, if you don't have water and your blood is roughly 80+% of water, that blood pressure is going to go up, and you're going to start having a lot of joint pain and stiffness because you do not have the water going into the places it needs to help lubricate the bones and joints. So heart health, dehydration results in high blood pressure. We already talked about this. If you suffer from high blood pressure or know people that do, make sure that they are properly hydrating their bodies. Especially as we get older. We tend to not have that same demand, need, or response to water. We don't have that same reaction from the brain that basically tells us we're thirsty. So as a result, we go long periods without drinking. The reality is, as we get older, we even need more water because of all of the things that are going on in the body, and we need to support that. But if you know people that suffer from heart disease, especially high blood pressure, by all means, make sure they're consuming large amounts of water so that we can keep that blood properly hydrated so that we can keep that blood pressure down, because as we know, blood is around 80 to 90% water. This is something nobody wants to talk about, but one of the leading causes of constipation is dehydration. So, just know that. It is the leading cause of chronic constipation. A lot of people suffer with this. The last numbers that I saw was over 20% of Americans deal with chronic constipation on a daily basis. Try this. Try drinking 100 ounces of water for 3 consecutive days and see if you don't, bad pun, clean up the problem. It literally is one of those situations where people are doing it to themselves, and the body is trying to send us the warning sign, and all we see is the result. We don't understand the root cause. So if you suffer from this and this is something that you have, try drinking that 100 ounces of water for 3 days and see what happens. Skincare. $11 billion will be spent in 2018 on skincare. Now, the interesting thing about this is a topical application. If you're not taking care of your skin from the inside, it doesn't matter what you're putting on the outside. It doesn't matter how much you're spending on the outside. You're not addressing the root problem. In fact, there's a top secret. There's something that most people don't appreciate. They don't understand. It is by far, absolutely, without a doubt, the best skincare product in the world. Irrefutable, scientifically proven, the best skincare product in the world is water. That's it. If you want that glowing skin, if you want your skin that is radiant and you want it to be full and rich, proper hydration is the best skincare product in the world. I mean, this has been proven over and over and over again. And, most people are trying to cover up dehydration and other related issues and damage that is done to the skin by our diet, lifestyle, and nutritional choices with topical applications. And the reality is this: don't waste your money. If you're not going to take care of it from the inside, if you're not going to properly hydrate your body, if you're not going to properly feed your body and take care of it, especially your skin from the inside first, then the topical is nothing more than an outward presenting temporary solution to a much bigger and long-term problem. Here's an interesting fact. The brain does not differentiate between hunger and thirst. Now, why would we be talking about hydration and we're saying the brain doesn't differentiate between hunger and thirst? Because here's the thing. It's going to send a signal out to you, and you're either going to interpret that signal as hunger or thirst. The reality is this: you very well may be thirsty, but what you've done is you've decided, oh no, I'm hungry. You're going to go grab food. Well, if that's the case, here's some foods you might want to try. These are the top 10 hydrating foods out there. Cucumbers, watermelons, pineapples. There's all kinds of green vegetables out there that are full of hydrating liquids and all kinds of fruits. These are great hydration foods. The problem is most of us are grabbing these things. Now let's explain something. If the brain does not differentiate between hunger and thirst, you interpret it as hunger, but in reality the brain really needs, or the body really needs, water, or it's thirsty. These processed foods, these things that come in the bags, boxes, jars, and cans, when you start to consume them, the body doesn't care. The body is basically going to pull the liquid out of these things until it is basically satiated, until it has the liquid that it needs to rehydrate the body. Most of these foods are very low in water content. So as a result, what ends up happening is you overeat. You eat in excess. Why? Because the body is trying to hydrate itself. It's not hungry, but you're misinterpreting what it's saying. So this is part of what leads to our unbelievable snack issue that we have in this country, as well as our overeating issue. In fact, if you really want to help regulate your weight, here's the best thing you can do. 16 ounces of water before each meal will reduce how much you eat and help maintain weight goals. See, by drinking that 16 ounces of water, or roughly, basically a water bottle before every meal, what's going to happen is if your body is in fact thirsty and not hungry, you're going to eat less. Why? Because you've actually hydrated the body. You've actually fed the body what it was asking for, which is hydration. And then to the extent that you truly are hungry, you truly do have a need for a meal, you're going to eat less of it because the hydration portion of what you need is already taken care of. So scientifically proven to work. You might want to try it out. In fact, 3 water bottles. 3 water bottles, or the equivalent of it. Just adding the 3 bottles per day to your diet. So whatever you're doing currently, if you just added 3 more, what does that mean to you for this year? Well, what it means is you're going to lose roughly about 5 pounds. That's right. And that is a depiction. If you see the quarter, you can see what 5 pounds really looks like. I mean, may not sound like a lot, but from a density standpoint, it's quite a lot on your body. If you would literally do nothing more than just add 3 water bottles to your daily diet, you are going to lose 5 pounds in the next year. So why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you just drink more water. I mean, you're only talking about 48 ounces more. Add that to your diet, see what happens. In fact, try it for 30 days and see what happens. You'd be amazed at what that could actually do for you. Here's your takeaway. Proper hydration is one of the keys to a healthy lifestyle, maintaining mental acuity, and avoiding all the ill effects of chronic disease. It's funny how people just basically look at water and they say, I don't like the taste. That's why I drink these other things. Well, let's remember, water has no taste. That's why you don't like it. We're so addicted to the sugary things. We're so addicted to the sweet things. We're so addicted to the salt things that when you have something that is pure that the body recognizes that the body needs, we don't like it. One of the other things is just remember, water alone is not enough. There's also a need to replenish your electrolytes. So you do need electrolyte replenishment, but you don't need all the salt and sugar that you find in so many other things. That's why IDLife created the Hydrate product, which is basically 400 milligrams of electrolytes, no sugar, and only 10 calories, so that people that have this issue of I don't like the taste of water can replenish their electrolytes, avoid the sugars, but at the same time drink more water. So that's kind of the whole concept behind why that was created. Obviously, a lot of other science went into it, but that's the simplistic form. But the basic takeaway is this. If you want to feel better, if you want to have better focus, and if you want to avoid the ill effects of chronic diseases, especially a lot of them that most of us suffer with, we need to drink a lot more water and get that into our diet.